Today I'm going to discuss why a lot of technicians hate working on Android phones and refuse to do so. I'm not going to explore each individual fact to its 100% conclusion. I am going to make some general points. So if you'd like to attack any specific point, that's fine, but if you want to attack the specific facts, you're going to have a lot of fun, because I'm not going to bother Googling or updating prices or specific information just for this video. I don't want it to turn into a 45-minute tirade. What I will say is that I don't have a bias against Android products. I like Android products, and it's because I like them that it pisses me off that they're annoying to fix, because when I break my own, it is a pain in the ass, and I am jealous when I deal with an iPhone where the part is $5 and I can find it anywhere, and I have an Android phone that I love, and there's only one vendor selling this $80 part to fix what should be a $5 problem. So the first problem, in my opinion, and the biggest, is fragmentation. You'll hear a lot of people talk about how Android is fragmented in terms of software, and I don't think that's that crazy a problem. The average, like the icons, you'll hear people from Apple or Microsoft, go, the icons are over here, and on the other phone it's over there, and that makes it less usable. When you use our device, it's consistent. Don't people want consistency? They don't like fragmentation. It confuses them. Like, who gives a fuck? There are millions of people using Android phones. They clearly don't give a flying fuck about fragmentation. If you ask them what it is, they don't care. And if they buy one Android phone where they're scrolling through up and down, and on this one they're scrolling through left and right, they just don't care. For the most part, just the average user doesn't notice and doesn't care. The problem that they do notice is when they go to get their phone fixed, and 90% of the phone repair shops won't help them, and the ones that do are charging $200. That's what I think the average user is going to notice. And this starts with fragmentation. There are a lot of different problems, but hardware fragmentation is one of them. This is a 17.3-inch standard LED screen for a laptop computer. This screen is made to a standard. This is a 40-pin LED. There is a standard for it. And this screen is compatible with at least 20 other different models from over 5 different manufacturers. This screen is also compatible with over 760 laptops. If you go to Best Buy, or you go to any website that sells laptops and you buy a 17.3-inch laptop, there is a 99% chance that this screen fits it. So if I want to offer services for PC laptop screen repair, I can buy about 4 or 5 different parts. I can spend maybe $400 or $500 and have the capability to make $100 to $200 in profit easily off of each one of these parts on a daily basis. It doesn't matter if people bring me Acer, Asus, Toshiba, Sony, Lenovo, Dell, Gateway, eMachines, whatever they bring me, I got parts for it. 99% chance I have parts for it. So let's go over to the iPhone. The iPhone is different. There are not many manufacturers making the iPhone. There's only one. But all the iPhones out there at a given time are 4. Let's say 3 years ago. Everybody who had an iPhone, 99% of them that were just buying iPhones, they got an iPhone 4. Because when you go to the Apple Store, you don't have a choice between the Samsung iPhone 4 and the Acer iPhone 4. You have their iPhone 4. So if I have this screen, I am good to make money. Maybe I'll buy it in black and white. I have 2 parts, and about 40% of the people out there that are looking for smartphone repair, and the people with the Apples, those are 90% of them that are actually going to pay for it. I can make money off of. I buy this and something else. I spend $100 on parts and keep churning it, and I have a business. Let's take it back to 2007 and 2008 when everybody had a BlackBerry Curve 8300 series with a little trackball. I buy this screen. I buy the one for the Bold. That's in this little cardboard container, and I'm set. Now each one of these may use 2 different screens, so I buy four different screens, and almost everybody out there that has a phone that wants to spend money on fixing it, I'm set. I have to special order on rare occasion, but for the most part, if I want to fix BlackBerries and iPhones, I stock 5, 6 parts and I'm good. Now let's discuss Android. I want to fix Android phones, and somebody brings me a Samsung Vibrant on T-Mobile in 2010. I want to fix it, so I say maybe I should stock parts for this. This is a popular phone. I buy a couple of Vibrant parts. Then somebody comes in with a phone that looks exactly like it. They say, I got the newest Samsung Android phone on AT&T. Oh, that's not a Vibrant, that's a Captivate. It looks almost exactly the same. And it works almost exactly the same, but all the parts inside are completely fucking different, even though it has almost the same processing power and all the same features. And then I buy a couple of those, and then somebody says, I got the hottest new Samsung phone on Verizon, and 1 week later, and I think I have a screen for it, and oh no, that's a Fascinate, that's not a Captivate or a Vibrant. Then no joke, a couple of months later, somebody calls and goes, yeah, I got the Vibrance phone on T-Mobile, and it's 4G. And I'm like, okay, I got a screen for that. No, I don't, because the 4G version of that phone uses a different fucking screen than the 3G version. Then it just keeps going on. If somebody has the HTC Incredible, which is different than the HTC MyTouch, which is different than the HTC MyTouch 4G, which is different from the Samsung S3, which is different than the Samsung S3 on this carrier, which is different than the Galaxy Note, which is different than the... it's a pain in the ass. And you'll almost... It doesn't matter how many screens you buy. You will wind up wasting so much time stocking inventory. And again, some of these phones are popular, but about 80% of the Android phones out there are Android phones that somebody is going to bring you once, and you may see that phone later, 1 or 2 years later, when somebody wants to get their baby pictures off of it because they spilled water on it. A lot of the Android phones that are out there are phones that you're probably not going to see again. There are phones like the Droid and the Droid 2 and the HTC Incredible and the Nexus 1, where it's worthwhile, but a lot of the times, if you advertise Android phone repair, people are going to expect that you can fix their Android phone. And their Android phone is very, very often, in my experience, going to be different than the Android phone that you have a screen for. It's not like the iPhone, because the iPhone is made by one carrier. It's very easy for the iPhone to have a standard screen type because only one company is making it. It's very easy for the popular BlackBerry to have one screen type because there are only one company making it. So what people will say with Android phones is, hey, there are all these different vendors. How can you expect the parts to be the same if there's all these different people making it? This screen fits 700 different laptops from Acer, Asus, Sony, Toshiba, Dell, Gateway, Fujitsu. It doesn't make sense. If they can do it with a PC laptop, you should be able to do it with a phone. But it's not. So all these parts are different. Now, you can order the part, but then we get into the issue of parts ordering and instant service. People do not want to leave their phone. When they want their phone fixed, they want to walk into a place, they want to leave 20 minutes to an hour later with a working phone. It's not like a computer where you can expect somebody to leave it while you order a part. Phones have become a part of people's everyday life. They latch onto it. Even if there's nothing to do. You may see in a waiting room, people are just doing this, and they're just scrolling through menus. I've looked over people's shoulders before. I'm a little embarrassed to admit, but I did. And they're just scrolling back and forth. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah, they're just doing this. It's like they're looking for an app that doesn't exist, or they're just making the time pass by quicker in the doctor's office. Instead of staring at the fish, they just stare at the phone as they scroll it back and forth. But people are very, very attached to it. You're not going to get somebody to leave the device. So it's more difficult to make money on. It's a more difficult sale. Now that's the problem of there being many different parts. Now let's go into the other parts problem, which is rarity and the expense. When you want to fix an iPhone that has a bad headphone jack, wholesale price, 50 cents to $1. Retail price, $3 to $10. So I can offer this repair service for $40 to $60, make some decent money off of my 20 minutes to 40 minutes of time, and charge the customer a price that is fair and reasonable. I'm charging them to 10% the cost of the phone to fix a very prominent function of the phone, which is the headphones and the volume buttons. Let's go to an Android phone. I fucked up my headphone jack last year on the HTC Sensation 4G. I can't find a headphone jack to solder back on. Whatever, so I figured let me find the audio board. This piece of fucking shit is $75. And that's not from a reputable vendor, because don't even ask what reputable vendors want. I mean, just dumpster diving, going Google shopping, lowest price, eBay, lowest price, best thing I could find, used, $75. And I said, you know what, screw that. A couple of days later, I changed my mind, and the shit's no longer available. 1 week later, it's available at $88. The availability of parts for these phones is dog shit. Now, you may be thinking, oh, the parts availability is not that bad. You're exaggerating. You just don't know how to buy from China. And, I've had people tell me that before, and I just kind of start to laugh at them. Like, really? And so, this little part here, this stupid fucking audio board. Let's say I want to order one for this person. Let's say, no, it's not worth it to order one. Let me order this with my next order of stuff, and I'll buy 10 of them. And I'll get a little discount. Maybe I actually find a vendor that knows where to find this thing, and he can get it for me for $60. Well, now I've locked myself into fixing 10 more of these. And the problem that you're going to find is that you're lucky if you get one more of this specific repair on this specific Android device. And that's assuming you can get people to leave the device. No, it doesn't work well. Let's go into the screen. That's another fun part of the HTC Sensation. This is a great phone to complain about repairing the screen on, because when it came out, If you found the screen that said T-Mobile, you're good. If you see the screen that says HTC in the middle and not T-Mobile, which is what every single vendor was selling in 2011, you get a screen where when you move it around, it doesn't work. And you had people doing all sorts of stupid, silly shit, like putting aluminum foil here to get the thing grounded to the case, and none of it actually worked. You would still try to unlock, and half the time it would work, and half the time it wouldn't. So not only do you have to worry about all the other challenges of finding the parts, of the part being expensive, of not having it in stock, of getting your customer to be patient, but then you have the issue of the parts that you get not even working for no random reason. And this is fairly common. And that's a very common thing in the Android world. Now, we've discussed part fragmentation. We've discussed how hard it is to find the parts. We've discussed how expensive they can be. Now, let's go on to the actual repair. And hopefully I have a couple of viewers who have opened up a Motorola Droid 1 or 2. If you guys can debate on which one is more miserable, they are miserable phones to open. On a BlackBerry, you have a couple of challenges. You know, when the Bold 9700 came out, oh crap! Instead of prying it open from the side, I have to pry it open from the top and pry out. I learned something. The iPhone 4, yeah, it's a pain in the ass. You have a lot of screws to take out, but that's all it is. It's just a lot of screws. You take out all the screws, everything comes out, you pull everything, and it's not really a booby trap. The Motorola Droid 1, that is a booby trap. Like, you take out, there are all these little plastic clips, and once you get all these little plastic things off so that you can actually take the back off the phone, you have to remove it in a manner so that you don't rip the microphone flex in the bottom that's wrapped around this and that. And then when you want to take the digitizer assembly out with the LCD cable is wrapped around this layer, which goes over and above here. And oh, you have to route this while you're routing the digitizer, but don't you dare, move it this way or you're going to rip the LCD cable. It's a clusterfuck. The Motorola Droid 1 is a great example of a phone that was not made with repairability in mind, where they just don't care. And you may be thinking to yourself, well, you're just not that great a phone technician. If you were a good phone technician, none of these would be hard to you. And you know what? You're right. But when it comes to a laptop, almost all these crazy brands of laptops, there's really only a couple that are a wild card. When the unibody MacBook first came out, getting to the screen was a pain in the ass. When the older MacBooks, getting to certain parts was a pain in the ass, like the iBooks, the hard drive. The Sony Z-Series, that is a pain in the ass. But for the most part, it's not crazy hard. The laptop is not made like a booby trap. The Droid 1, that is a booby trap. That phone is designed for you to fuck something up. And for every technician here who's opened an Android phone for the first time, and ripped a flex cable that was hiding in some strange, funky little place, understands my pain. With the Android phone, since it's a phone and not a computer, you're going to be less likely to have an opportunity to learn while you work. Learning while you work sucks, but since there are so many different phones, and since there are a very low likelihood that you're going to see it again, you're going to have to do a little bit of learning while you work. And this is not possible when somebody expects a repair in 20 to 40 minutes. Even if you take a deposit from the person so that they can bring the phone in, well, once the part comes in and not have to wait a couple of days without their phone, they're going to expect you to fix it right there. And you're going to look at them like, no, like, back away, you're not staring at me, do this. Because technicians don't like being stared at by customers while they're learning. This is bad. This is just very, 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 very bad. And the thing is, it's difficult to know exactly how to do it. Again, with an iPhone, you do the 4, the 4S is pretty similar. You do the 4S, the 4 CDMA is pretty similar. You do a BlackBerry Curve, the Bold is not much different. With laptops, they're all made by the same manufacturer. You learn, Quanta and Foxconn make 90% of the world's laptops, whether it's an Acer, an Asus, a Toshiba. Okay, so the keyboard screws on the Acer are here, and on the Toshiba they're here. The clips on the Acer are here, and on the Toshiba are here. Who cares? It's almost the same shit. Getting the motherboard out of there is the same shit. Soldering a DC jack on any of these is the same shit. Getting to the screen on an Android phone, it's not like just getting to the center of a Tootsie Pop. It's different every single time. It's different in such a miserable way almost every single time. And people don't really want to take the risk of figuring it out and of breaking something. On an iPhone, there's only one iPhone made for the entire year, so I may have parts for everything. If I totally forget how to work on one and I mess one up, okay, it's a $5 flex cable, whatever. I have it right here. With an Android phone, oh, the flex cable is attached to the audio board. And the audio board costs $75. That's what I think of that. Let's take my latest Android phone, because in spite of the battered spouse relationship I have with Android devices, I still keep coming back for more. I bought an HTC One S for about $350. And the power button, the little piece inside fell out. And there's no solution online. Let's do a little bit of Googling. Oh, that's great. I could find pieces for the One X. I got an on-off power flex for the One V. Yeah, not so much on the One S. There is none on the One S right now. I'm just double checking because I've already checked this before. The only way to get that power button back is to use a paperclip. And you keep turning it on with a paperclip. But then I wear it out eventually. So I want to get a new power button on the phone. Power button is not on the flex cable. Power button is part of the main board. So can I just find another power button? Oh no, they don't exist. If I want to get a power button, I gotta solder it off of a dead HTC One S board and put it on there. And that's exactly what I did. It lasted for 2 fucking months before the little piece of shit, a white piece, fell out of it again. And it's still, and it's just been sitting in my apartment dead. And I go Googling for the part. It doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist. Again, this is not a new phone. This is not an unpopular phone. This is the HTC phone to get. The Android phone to get if you're on T-Mobile. And it was the phone to get for 8 months. And it's been out for over 8 months. And I can't find the most vital part of it. Not only is it the most vital part of the phone, it's also a part that is known for breaking. It's even on HTC's website, T-Mobile's website. They tell you, oh, what do we do about this thing breaking? What's the answer? You know what the answer is? It's a joke. It's don't break it. Here's how you can handle the top of the phone so you don't break it. Thanks, jackass. Because see, most of the people Googling HTC One S power button, they're not just doing preventative maintenance. People don't go Lenovo ThinkPad power button. So okay, that's how I don't break my power button. That's great. So I'm gonna use my laptop like this instead of like that so I don't break my power button. No, they Google it because they broke it. They don't Google it because they want to know how to not break it. It's very obvious that this power button breaks for a lot of people. And in spite of that, in 9 months, there's just none available to buy. And this is the sad truth of owning an Android device. And it's frustrated me to the point where right now I don't even own a cell phone because I want to use an Android phone. But if I get an Android phone, I'm going to break it. And when I break it, I'm going to be too frustrated and angry at the price to fix it. And then I'm going to be pissed off that I'm walking around with a broken device. And that's just my opinion. I am jealous of Apple. I am jealous of RIM for the fact that their devices are just easily repairable, and these are not. One of the beautiful parts of the tech world that I haven't mentioned yet is that somebody else's pain in the ass is my opportunity. I love the new MacBook Air. I love the 11-inch MacBook Air. And I love reading articles about how unfixable it is. I love hearing how repairability matters. It's not repairable. We hate it. I love reading where people say, "Oh, then the screen is 150, yet I fix it, and it's impossible because it's glued together to fix it." It's not impossible, no. And I've done my homework. That part's $38. And I charge $200 all day to fix it, which means I'm making money. While you people are busy whining about how difficult and how hard it is, the same way I'm whining about Android phones right now, I realize that I'm whining. I'm making money at it because I figured out how to do it. I put the time in to learn it. I put the time in, and I dealt with the pain in the ass. I dealt with the pain in the ass of part supply, and I found the parts that I need from a reputable vendor. I told this person, I need this. I buy $20,000 of this per week with you. So clearly, it can be worthwhile to you to make this work, because maybe I'll buy $20,000 a week worth of this from you. And, the numbers can be a lot smaller, and you can still get vendors to care. You can get people to care for $200 a week. Maybe you find somebody, and you tell them, you're going to be my dumpster diver for Android parts. Anytime I need one of these, you're going to get it to me. I promise you, I'm going to make you a weekly order of this much money. And in exchange, I want you to find whatever I want and include it in this weekly order. Now, maybe you fix the problem of time frame and parts quantity. You don't have a minimum order quantity anymore. Then maybe you figure out how to fix the problem of how to open the device. You get better at it. You get more savvy at it. Maybe you start mapping out the differences in the devices. Maybe you start looking for the differences online before the devices start coming to you. I don't know. Come up with a solution. If this video can do anything, the one thing that I would like it to do is get manufacturers to start making shit standardized like this and stop making shit like this. But that's probably not going to happen because Samsung and HTC and they're just not looking at my videos. But what can happen is I hope that I can inspire a new technician to start making money where I'm just crying about how it's a pain in the ass. Solve all of these problems. I've presented you with the problems that you're going to find when fixing an Android phone. Now, maybe you can solve them. Now turn it into a little side business that makes you $10,000 or $20,000 a year. Then turn it into a business that makes you $40,000 or $80,000 a year. Then grow it into more and more and more. I have a store, 2 companies, and a staff of people off of services and products that I offer that other people thought was too much of a pain in the ass. So I'm inspired to help the next generation or the next technician do the exact same thing off of something that I'm complaining about. If you can figure out how to offer services that most people are not, you are filling a niche. And once you fill a niche, you can make good money. So give it a shot.